Moving to a completely new state or even to a new city within the same state can be a daunting task, which is why today I'm going to help you simplify your move to Idaho in 6 easy steps. And if you stay tuned to the end of this video, I'm going to give you not one, but 2 bonus tips that I promise you don't want to miss. Hey there, Marcie Ellison here from the Boise, Idaho area. Welcome to or back to our channel. Our goal is to serve as your guide to all things living in South Idaho, with an emphasis on Boise, Meridian, Eagle, and all the other cities that make up the beautiful surrounding Treasure Valley. Let's break down today what you need to know to simplify your move to the Gem State.
Let's do this. Great.
Number 1, come visit us. Now, while this may seem like common sense, and our team has certainly helped a lot of newcomers relocate here to Boise, whether buying or renting, and who decided to move here blindly, visiting before moving will allow you, though, to explore the different areas of Boise, as well as all the other surrounding towns and suburbs that make it the place it is. So ultimately, you can be sure that this is a place that you really want to call home. While it's one thing to see videos and images of Boise all over social media, or in videos such as this one, or this one, or this one, well, there is only so much you can tell and feel by watching a video. Being here in person will allow you to really experience it so that you can make a decision that you will be happy with for years to come. Now, we completely understand that there will be times and circumstances that can prevent you from being able to visit before moving, and that's okay.
Good, because...
But in those instances, you need to make sure you do your research on the city and or its surrounding cities, such as Eagle, Meridian, Star, or Kuna. You need to do this so that you have at least a general understanding of what neighborhoods and areas will suit you best. And make sure you are okay with the weather because, well, people either love having 4 distinct seasons, some of which can sometimes feel like we experience them all in the same day. There's a common saying living in Idaho that goes something along the lines of, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes because it's gonna change.
Keeps you on your toes, doesn't it?
And well, yes, sometimes our weather here can feel a bit bipolar, tripolar, quadpolar, whatever you want to call it. Adjusting to the weather, especially if you're relocating to Idaho from, say, California, Arizona, or Texas, is going to likely be a bit of an adjustment. That all said, thankfully in southern Idaho, our winters, as well as our summers, are both typically more mild than most initially expect. And we do not have issues with humidity, which I, for one, can appreciate.
Her hair can't handle that humidity.
In Boise, we have a high desert, semi-arid climate, so similar to many areas of the inland section of the Pacific Northwest. Number 2, let's talk about the cost of living. Now, while sitting down and crunching numbers isn't exactly the most exciting or sexiest part of the moving process by any means, well, for the vast majority of the population, it's essential that we all do that. Thankfully, living in Idaho, and specifically in the Boise, Idaho area, will mean that you will enjoy a very reasonable cost of living. We filmed a full video on this oh so exciting but important topic, which I will link to in the description of this video. In it, we cover everything you will need to know, or feel free to post a comment down below to ask anything about the cost of living, expenses, and what you might need to expect or know about prior to moving here. Taking time to crunch the numbers and really to just wrap your head around what living in Idaho is really going to look like for you and your pocketbook, well, it's important, and in the future, you will not regret having taken the time to do so.
Promise? Promise. Definitely, I promise.
Number 3, try to live in an area close to your job, or find a general area and neighborhood that will allow you to have a reasonable commute. Now, while the Boise metro area isn't massive, and especially in comparison to other US metros, such as Houston, LA, or Chicago, it has really seen some significant growth over the past decade. And as such, commutes are something that you will really want to keep in mind. For many, living somewhat close to the major roadway we have here, Interstate 84, is key. Living within 5 to 10 minutes from I-84 will mean you can get to just about anywhere across the Treasure Valley relatively easily. For example, my family and I live in South Meridian. When we first bought our home, I was working in downtown Boise, or in Bodo as we locals call it. And well, when we first bought our home in Meridian, many of my friends thought we were completely nuts and that my commute was just going to be a crazy maker for me. But lo and behold, I could actually get to work faster than they could, and they lived within Boise city limits. And that was because our home is just about 5 minutes from I-84. So those little details matter. Be sure to be realistic with yourself about just how long of a commute you're going to be okay with. If, say, a 45-minute daily commute sounds okay to you, then great. But if you would rather spend, 30 of those 45 minutes extending your workout at Axiom or perusing the village in Meridian, well then let's find you a neighborhood and location that will make that possible. Number 4. Do you want to live in the city or in the burbs? Now, this one really comes down to lifestyle preference and what makes you and whoever it is that's coming alongside of you tick. You need to figure out if living in the city with its bustling vibe and fine dining options right at your fingertips, is that what you're after? Or maybe you're looking for more of that small town, quieter, country America vibe and feel. Or maybe it's something in between, like a family-friendly, master plan community, nearby great parks and play areas. Whatever the case may be, you will need to determine what Idaho lifestyle and therefore neighborhood and community is going to make sense for you.
There's just so many options.
Number 5, make a realistic budget and stick to it. If you have watched any of our other videos, then you have likely heard us say that living in Boise is just not as cheap as it used to be, but it is still more affordable than many other US cities. And that is especially true if you're moving here from, say, California, New York, or Seattle. So what I mean by that is don't just say that, oh gosh, I want to move there and I want to purchase a home for $300,000, or that you want to rent for $1,200 a month with visions of something just extraordinary in your mind. 9 times out of 10, well, yes, we can find you something in that price range.
But what?
But most of the time, I'd probably be willing to promise you that you're not going to absolutely love it. And then you're going to look at us like we're crazy.
Oh dear, we don't want that.
Simply put, don't have $800,000 home eyes if your budget is right around $300,000. You have to go into the experience with realistic expectations about what you can afford. Otherwise, the whole process could become one big, mentally defeating and even downright exhausting process. And it really shouldn't be like that.
You're right. Fine. Okay.
Sticking with a realistic budget and understanding what your budget can afford, you living here in Boise will undeniably make the entire process significantly easier for you, as well as ultimately rewarding, which is, of course, what you want and what we want for you. Number 6. Plan ahead. You will want to make sure you give yourself enough time to plan your move so you can move seamlessly and as stress-free as possible. Now, I certainly know moving can be, of course, stressful at times, but it really does not have to be a super stressful process if you have everything planned out. This means you don't wait until 30 days before your moving date to decide that you should, begin planning things out. Depending on if you have employment secured or not and how decisive you are, we recommend that you really buckle down and begin planning 60 to 120 days ahead of moving. That will give you enough time to comb through all of your options, and if you choose, to come and visit the city to explore it. And all of those things. Now, if you are watching this and are, moving to Idaho next week, well then rest assured we can still help. Just call or text us today so we can help you play a little catch up and ensure the entire process going forward from this point is as stress-free and easy for you and your mental health as possible.
Yes, that is very important.
Very important.
And now, bonus tip number 1. If you are planning to move to Boise and you want to live in the suburbs, then I'm pretty certain that Meridian and Eagle are 2 towns that are already on your radar. And for good reason. Both Meridian and Eagle are fantastic towns with so much to offer. As such, they are definitely 2 of the first suburbs that people tend to hear about when they first start thinking about moving to Boise. And because of that, well, they have both become, and this is especially true when it comes to Eagle, more expensive than many of the other cities that make up the Treasure Valley. With the growth that both have experienced, traffic into and out of both has grown increasingly congested. And that's especially true during peak commute times. So now you were probably thinking, didn't she say just a bit ago that she lives in Meridian and can get to downtown Boise in 15 minutes? Marcie! And right you are. I just want you to try to keep an open mind about maybe going just 10 minutes further down the road to explore some other cities such as Star, Middleton, or Kuna, because you might just be very surprised by what you find. Try to remain open to exploring these areas because while Eagle and Meridian are great places to call home, they are by no means the only 2 cities for you to live here in the booming Boise area. There are just so many suburbs and communities and areas for you to check out, and we are here and dialed and just ready to help you explore them. And now, bonus tip number 2, hire a realtor who you can really trust to be looking out after your best interests. And no, I'm not just saying this because I'm a realtor. I'm saying it because honestly, if you hire the right person, it will take a lot of stress off your plate. You're talking about someone who is well versed on what it's really like living here in Boise, someone you can trust and who knows the ins and outs of all the various cities that make up Boise's whole metro area, as well as all the different neighborhoods and communities within them. You deserve to work with an agent who can present you with all of your options so you can really determine and find the perfect Idaho lifestyle that will suit your needs.
You're right. I do.
So there you have it, 8 steps and tips, so I guess 6 steps and 2 tips that will help to ensure that your move to Boise, Idaho is as simple and as stress-free as possible. If and when you get ready to take that next step, please jot down our number so you have it readily available and we can get going. My fantastic team and I are here, dialed, and just ready to jump in and help you find your perfect spot in the Treasure Valley. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.